said that at the beginning of time, a benevolent creator brought forth the sky and the sea and the earth. He brought the creatures of the air and the water and the field. And finally, graciously, he created man in his image and woman to serve him and granted him dominion over the land and the plants and the animals. It is said that in this creator's garden was a forbidden fruit, the gift of knowledge that would make them as gods unto themselves, which they did eat. And for this empowering transgression, we have lost favor with such a benevolent creator. But this is just a fantasy, a story told long ago for fearful minds in darkened times, a fable to justify a certain shaping of our society, a myth to help us embrace the chains of our own subjugation. We're offered a tale where knowledge is forbidden, the original sin dooming humanity when we sought it. What a foul suggestion. We're to believe we're better off as pets in a garden, witless and docile, easily controlled by a despot who leaves us in the dark. Reject this fiction and the commandments of its purveyors. Bliss is not for the ignorant alone. We deserve to know ourselves and our world, that we may live well in liberty. Fear not the gift of knowledge, and do not allow it be walled away in a garden. We're instructed in a simple, perfect order to creation, a patriarchal order, where men rule over women and children as their property. Fuck that! How can such commodification of humanity serve any good? Will we allow our sisters, daughters, lovers, neighbors to be reduced to possessions? How can we abide such convenient simplicity in face of the beautiful diversity and complexity of life? We each have our own plans for our lives. We shall not allow ourselves to be flattened and die cut. We shall live authentically without shame. We shall be free, no matter the rebellion it requires. Just as we would not tolerate our own subjugation, we must stand proudly against it for others in all its forms. We're told tales
turn the tide, to make a sacrament of bringing about change and ending illegitimate and systemic abuses, to denounce the tribalistic disregard for the humanity of others and defy those that would have us disregard the humanity in ourselves, to stop waiting to be told by so-called leaders how best to save ourselves,